Early on actually, in my flight sim career, we reviewed an aircraft. Didn't get many views because it was a small channel at the time. And today we're going to review a newer variant of that aircraft from the same developers. It is not that Ryanair 737 NG. It's not the MAX. It's not this KLM ERJ. It's not this other KLM ERJ XR. It is, however, this ERJ Freighter. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and welcome to the Flight Sim Studio ERJ. I believe this is the 175, but there's several variants. Cargo. This is an interesting aircraft because if you have the previous version, or the passenger version, I should say, of the Flight Sim Studio E-Jets series, that being the 175 and I believe 195, you get this for free. So we're going to check it out. There's a caveat with that, and we'll get into that in a minute. But we're going to go ahead and check it out, give it a standard sample treatment. Looking first and foremost at textures. Listening to the sounds of the aircraft, and they're pretty good, in my opinion, on initial review. And then obviously get it up in the air from Cork here in Ireland to up to Dublin is where we're going to be flying today on the ASL Airlines Ireland shuttle. So without further ado, let's begin. So I want to give this aircraft a fair shake, so we are going to change the time just a little bit from the live time. And we're going to dial things back to sunset. And that'll give us a chance to see a little bit more of the aircraft, while also appreciating some of the shading that's done on this aircraft. At an initial glance, it's pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. The caveat that I had mentioned earlier, we'll get into that while we walk around. Really like the nose gear. The taxi lights look a little bit... Actually, you know what? No, they look okay. The caveat with this is, in order to buy and install, or I guess receive, this aircraft, you need two criteria to be met. The first being, you need to own one or both of the E-Jet series, the passenger variant, the 175 or 195, and you also need to have installed that aircraft, the ERJ 175, 195, the E-Jet series, in the sim in FS 2020. Now, that's not a problem for me, because when I originally reviewed the ERJ, we're getting inside. Where are we inside? When we originally reviewed the ERJ, it was in Flight Simulator 2020, so I did that. But if you're here in the current year, 2025, playing Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, odds are you probably don't have Flight Simulator 2020 installed, or you just never played Flight Simulator 2020. Maybe you picked it up later, and that's fine too. So there is that caveat. So you need to have purchased Flight Simulator 2020 in order to enjoy this aircraft, and also obviously the E-Jet series. To me, that's not that big of a deal. Essentially, you buy one aircraft set and you get the other for free, is the way that I look at it. Because it is essentially the same aircraft, it's just a cargo versus a freighter variant. Going back to my texture commentary, I think it's, for the most part, good. I think I said this on the original ERJ also, and it still holds true here. This blend line between the metal leading edge, the heated leading edge on the sharklet, and the actual wing, not good. Especially when you compare it to other details on the aircraft, like the static wick, for example. The actual mounting point kind of looks like garbage, but the static wick itself looks good. This is probably more of a livery situation, but I do like the dirt factor on the aircraft. I'm a huge fan of aircraft looking used, not like they just rolled off of the production line, because when do you ever see that in the real world? Excuse me, what? Ooh, get out of here. So, what I was going to say before Shadow Man walked in front of me is I like On the outboard portions of these hydraulic lines are the ones that are running off to the brake assembly. I like the detail there. I don't know what's going on in the center, but then as I pan down, I realize there's like some hard, like 30, 35, maybe even 40-degree angles. So yeah, maybe those could use some work. We'll hop back on the cockpit and take the engine covers off as well, so we can look at the faces of those engines as well. There is a servicing chart, but it's a little bit faded. Maybe that's part of the weathering. So let that go. In the main gear bay, nothing too of note. Oh, I can see through the airplane though. Look at that. Peekaboo. Hello. Not really that big of a deal. It's the missed point, but it's fine. What's causing that? Ah, it's because nothing in between here is rendered. So if they had have just put a black void at the back of here, heck, you could have even made it a forward-facing sprite for all I care. But alas, no. Speaking of forward-facing sprites, there is our brushes for the main landing gear, and it is, yeah, it's a 2D sprite. 2D brushes, which again, not that big of a deal, but that is going to be an external-facing item. Continuing aft, I like the detail for our radio altimeters. One there, one there. Dual channel radio altimeters, actually. Come up along the empennage here. Got some heat blur coming out of there. It's originating before the actual exhaust of the APU. That's something I see a lot of devs struggle with. The exception being the Phoenix A320. That's pretty dang spot on, but a lot of devs do seem to struggle with that. Outside of that, it's a little more of the same. You know, nothing strikes me as overtly bad. Nothing insanely good either, though. Got your logo light there. I will say, though, with this being a 2020 inspired or 2020 origin aircraft, the external lighting is nice and it is bright. These are just the nav lights. We don't have any landing lights or any high intensity lights on yet, and it's got a very good visibility range, a very good cast on the ground, as you saw in the intro as well. Let's quickly check the lower cargo bay. Nothing overtly wrong here. I like the detail of the green on the gas strut. I like the cages around. I believe those are smoke detectors, as well as the cages around the lighting. I think we'll take a quick look on the top side here. Really good detail on those Phillips screws. I mean, they're 2D, but come back to here and you can't really tell. Dig that. Let's take the engine covers off really quick, and then we'll get into the cockpit. So we have our free spinning engines. I actually don't recall the engine type on the ERJ family of jets. Is it a Safran product? It probably is, but from what I can see, relatively good modeling. Got your hot section, turbine stage, and quite a bit in terms of stators and ribbing. So you've got your N1 fan, which is freewheeling, and then you've got a stator behind that, and then you've got your high bypass. Does this have that many layers to the high bypass? Is this like a flow redirection? Like an unswirler? I think the first one's a non-swirl. I have no idea what that second set of blades does. You let me know. Alright, let's hop inside of the old ERJ. And take a look at the cockpit. Nope. Nope. There we go. The cockpit of the ERJ. It's a lot more of what we had before. Again, I encourage you to look at that lower quality, not lower quality, but lower resolution, lower frame rate review if you want a little bit more of an in-depth overview. But I think this is pretty good. You know, the displays aren't quite as crisp as I think I would like to have them, but I'm nitpicking here. This is at 1440p quality. One thing I do like is when you get really up close and personal with them, you can actually see the individual pixels. So credit where credit's due. They're... Oh. Oh no. Thank you. Go back to inches of mercury. I don't know how to do metric. Yeah, no, I dig this. Got your smudges, or maybe those are dead pixels, I don't know. They're not dead pixels, but everything is crisp and clear. Like the weathering around the engine start switches. You know, this brings me back to the passenger version for sure. I mean, outside of like texture meshing, like the oxygen mask thing here versus the rest of the cabin, like there's a little bit of a disconnect there, but I mean, all in all, it's pretty good. Looks like we've got mountable glare shields up there, so we can twiddle those around, put it back if we want. There's even modeling underneath. See, yeah, see, this is, I love this. This is the kind of stuff I love. You are never, ever going to be in a situation where you need to see this, but you can. The hinges, the ducting, the insulation, I think, is that fiberglass or is that fire blanket? I'm not sure. It's low poly, but it's there, and it really doesn't need to be. Like, most people would settle. I don't even think the AnyBuild's A350 has that level of detail. You've got your charts you can show or stow. Not charts, but your checklists you can show or stow. Seat adjustments, or pedal adjustment rather, non-functional. That's fine, whatever. Coffee, critical for any flight sim enthusiast. Let's take a look at the overhead panel. Oh, actually, let's look at the HUD. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Very nice, crisp heads-up display. Razor sharp. Bumping that. Overhead panel, more the same. Nice, crisp, clear textures that we all borderline expect. Again, all of your textures are fine. The only discrepancy you might have is with your texturing around stuff. So like the fire handle in here looks a little bit, I don't know. Nah, it's not bad. That's for certain. So, do I have an individually movable? Hold the phone. That's the wrong light. Chart light. I need the chart light. Okay, so if I can move this chart light independently, it's a 10 out of... Oh no, it's a brightness adjustment. Okay, that's still cool though. I dig that. So then why does this have an adjuster? So if I crank that up there, does it change there? No, it doesn't. Okay. Is that real to the ERJ? You let me know. I most certainly do not. We do have openable side panel windows and a very nice soundscape to go with those. This was also one of the first aircraft, it's not a unique thing anymore, but this was one of the first aircraft where you could remotely, not remotely, but natively fly from the right seat. So if you toggle, there's a setting you can do in here. And if you, where are you? Pilot, General. Fly aircraft from right seat. So what this does, I'll just show you. So natively in every aircraft in Flight Sim 2020, you were sitting on the right-hand side of the aircraft. Now with our custom cameras and all that, you can do this on your own. But at the time, you just click on that and it moves you right over to the right seat. And I think that's really cool. I'm glad they kept that. It means I don't have to set a custom camera. I dig that. I dig that. I really do. I have a working lock. On the door here, so like the door doesn't open now. Jump seat. Airworthiness certificate, and then we come back to the galley and the rest of the aircraft. So obviously this is where passengers previously were, now it's where cargo lives. Very, very good detail on the roller assembly for the palletized cargo. And you can see it just cargo all the way to the back. So I don't believe this is a P2F passenger to freighter conversion. I'm pretty sure that Embraer makes these natively. Think like your 777F. Do I have... Ooh, I do. I got lighting controllers. Am I just... Nothing's happening when I click these. The galley works. Panel lighting works. Cargo door control. Huh. Okay. Maybe these are supposed to do something. I don't know. Maybe I have a configuration wrong, but I would imagine the buttons do something. Maybe it's supposed to be like a 2020 only thing. I'm clicking shit in the cockpit now. Okay, well. Anyway, back we go. Let's get set up, loaded up, and ready for takeoff. Alright, so before we begin our pushback, let's go ahead and bring our flight plane in. Let's go through the sound suite of the Embraer. Like I mentioned before, it is very good. I quite enjoy it. So let's do a control sweep. And it's going to be a little bit hard to hear over the EP lead, so let's turn that off temporarily. It's nothing earth-shattering on the controls. Flaps have a nice, good audible click. Switches, very firm click sound there. Let's listen to some of the enunciators. That's not what I want. Stand by. Are you down here? Yeah, we'll just hit the takeoff config because we're not in takeoff config.
No takeoff. Flat. Brake.
So, you get the idea. There is no ability to push the aircraft back. So there's no EFB that you can do pushback with or anything like that. It's all either going to be through the ATC, or if you have GSX installed, you can utilize GSX. So we are going to utilize GSX. So we'll go through a pushback and listen to the engine start. As we do, let's turn the EP lead back on. It's getting warm.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
And in a minute here, I'm going to have to get the FMS set here because, well, we've got we've got a whole bunch of nothing in here. So, all right, so we're beginning our pushback. Let's go ahead and shut off the packs, and we will start engine 2 first. Full FedEx system, as you would expect on a modern airliner. Ooh, do I need fuel pumps? Ice protection, hydraulic, pressurization. Nope. pumps are set to automatic. So we should have pumps auto-starting us. Not a lot of sound inside. Let's take a listen outside. The engines start relatively uneventful. I would imagine it would be somewhat so inside of a airliner like this. You're really, really, really far forward of those relatively smaller engines. You know, they're not LEAP 1As or CFM 56 size engines. I'm going to go ahead and let the GSX crew disconnect us, and we'll be back once we're set to take off. Alright, on the taxi out for runway 16. We get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's do a quick flight control sweep. Good. ECS doing what it needs. Packs are on. Don't need ram air. Cross an alpha onto threshold for 16 now. It's interesting it's marked as 34-16 because I believe those are the piano keys for runway 16, and there's nowhere else further to go. Normally, and maybe it's a, I don't know, maybe it's an Ireland thing, maybe it's just a European thing, but in the States, if you were at the end of this runway, it would just be marked 16, because that's the only option you have. You're not going to take off in that direction. But hey, it's alright. Nonetheless, the ERJ looking fantastic with the night lighting that we have. This rear-facing strobe's looking great. Forward-facing strobe's looking great. Wing lights looking great. And this is the kind of brightness I expect, what I want, and what I would imagine a lot of you want out of your aircraft. Didn't end up throwing in any performance data from the engines. It just couldn't be asked, if I'm being honest with you. Alright, it's lined up. Runway 16 confirmed. Let's set the crossfeed off, because we're much better in terms of balance.
Take off, okay.
Should have done that beforehand too. It's alright. Let's go to toga power. Airspeed is alive. Good cross one. 80 knots, cross check. Let's throw it on the HUD.
V1, rotate.
V1, stand by on the rotation. I need to fix my HUD.
Positive rate.
PRC, gear up, please. And let's come back to MCT. No idea why the auto throttle's cutting power. Let's nose over.
Sync rate.
That's less than stellar. Relatively low fuel today, but I think it'll be enough to make it over to Dublin. Maybe it won't. I don't know. As we come around to our first fix, let's take a look outside. Absolutely adore how the ERJ looks. And the engine bleed's back on, and we'll turn the APU bleed off, let it cool down. We're clear at 10,000 feet now, so we'll shut off the landing and logo lights. And I think the APU has cooled enough, so we'll shut down the APU. We'll restore the bleed air from it. There's our first officer. She's animated, moving around, doing stuff, talking. Love that. Get this jumpsuit out of my way. And, yeah, that's about all she wrote. We'll, keep cruising here over to Dublin. So we're on an FMS assisted cruise up to flight level 240. And I want to talk a little bit about the lighting suite in the ERJ and why I don't really like it at night. So, we have a few different knobs to control different lighting zones. This is about as good as I could really get it for night flying, and there's just a lot of extra cast. So, let's turn all of our lights off. And now all we have are the panels, the PFD, the MFD. Okay, we'll give it a little bit of light. So there, you have 3 displays, barely putting out any light. We'll turn these all the way off, just to prove that I'm not lying. Look at the amount of light that is being cast in here right now. And it might... I wonder if it's these tablets. Let's go... There's an automatic brightness. No, it's not. It's... Do you have the chart light on? I did. So even with every single light in the cabin off, unless there's like some other one that I'm missing. And this isn't bleed through from the back of the aircraft, because back here, they're all off too. There's a light source somewhere. Maybe is it my standby attitude indicator? I don't know. Oh, some lightning out there in the distance. This is not going to be copacetic for night flying. Realistically, you need your PFDs, you need your MFDs, you need your ICAS to fly, right? And with the ambient lighting the way that it's set, it creates almost like a feedback loop. So you need, because of this ambient lighting that just exists forever, you need to turn up your PFDs and your MFDs, and then that creates more light cast in the cockpit, which just makes this negative feedback loop. In addition to that, one other thing I also don't really care for is and maybe this is realistic to the ERJ, if it is Embraer and if you're watching, I hate this. Stop that. So you'll notice my lighting for these guys, these little knobs here, are off. Those are tied, I believe, to the pedestal lighting. Nope, it's main panel. So we'll turn off the pedestal lighting, we'll turn the main panel back on, and you can see how much brighter it is in here now. But to have lighting on these, I have to have that pedestal or main panel lighting up. So if I turn it down to the point where it's not casting extra light, I can't see those, so a little bit of an issue with light washing, and same thing with the main pedestal. So not super copacetic for night flying, but we're going to make do with it. And we're about 25 miles outside of Dublin. We're going to start our turn-ins in a second here. And hopefully it's bright on the ground in Dublin and it cancels out some of this wash. Yeah, this is, no, too bright. So it's a catch-22 because the external lighting, we're going outside, looks great. I love the external lighting. Super bright, love that. But the internal lighting is a little bit too much, in my opinion. Anyway, I'll catch up with you guys once we're on our descent here. We're actually going to be starting it pretty soon. We actually might want to start now. We're at flight level 240. I think that's Dublin down there. Yeah, we'll start our descent now. So we'll come down to 6,000. Alright, we're getting ready to cross below 10,000 feet. Let's go sterile cockpit on. Landing lights are already set. Set our auto brake to low. And we're looking for 230 knots on the airspeed. We're definitely high. We do have spoilers deployed. Yeah, we're probably going to end up going around here. If you look at our approach vector, we're way off. Let's drop gear, add some drag. We're below our VG. Extension speed is 265. We're at 250. So maybe that'll help us, but I'm leaning towards no. But hey, it's a standard. It's a trait of this channel. We're coming high and fast. That's what we do. And I'd rather come in high and fast than too low and too slow. Okay. I think we can, yeah, we'll fly it in manually, so we'll go autopilot off. We'll ditch the flight director. Ditch the auto throttle as well. So it gives us a chance to fly in manually. That's why I mismanage the aircraft. It's not because I can't fly. I promise it's not that. Okay, it might be that, but it's fine. It's fine. You can rest assured knowing that if I can manage to fly this aircraft, you probably can too. It's got one aircraft on departure. He's coming off to the right. I'm going to follow in whatever that other aircraft is. Do we want to put down the... let's put down the HUD. It's very bright HUD. But we can get that flight path marker lined up nicely on the runway. And that should help us manage our approach a little bit better. Arresting.
Sink rate.
Arresting.
Sink rate. Approaching minimums.
Should have been past minimums by now.
20. 10.
That's a hard touch if I've ever felt it. Alright. 2 in reverse. Auto brake's doing their thing. Let's keep track of the center line. 80 knots. Ah, I still have tiller input, that's why. Alright, we're on the brakes now. I think I see a taxiway coming up on the left. There's a 737 on the runway. Darn you, default aircraft. Die. Mutually assured destruction. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Flight Sim Studio Embraer ERJ Freighter. Free edition if you already have and have installed the passenger variant. Very cool. We'd love to see anything at low cost to users, even if you did have to purchase the other one. Like I said, I like to think of it as a buy one aircraft, get another one for free. Again, this is going to be more for if you enjoy the ERJ and you would like to fly it to, I don't know, freight-based locations, I guess. Is Dublin a freight-based location? Probably. It's a huge city in Ireland. So anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I do dearly appreciate it. I will see you in the next one, but until then, as always, Take it easy.